Hey, folks, to anyone listening in, yes, do jump in and try out on your own, but you've got to accept failure is not a bad thing. That's the most important thing, if I may, right? You are going to fail. For me, failure are lessons. It can be very, very disheartening. You are trying it out on your own. You don't have people who know you, but don't give up, but be ready to fall and get up again.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me and Amar today. Today, we are going to speak about something very interesting. So, when I talk about leaders speak is something which I started to understand what is actually the life of an entrepreneur. What do they do in their day-to-day life? What are the hardships that they face? What are the challenges that come their way? What are the thoughts that come into their mind when they start their day? So here we are with another Leader Speak, and we have a very special guest with us, Amar Singh. He's one person I really admire. I've been following him for so long, and I'm so glad that he agreed to join me today. He is the CEO for the Cyber Management Alliance in the UK. He's a multi-talented person, and to the fact he's a very interesting person. We just had a conversation around a lot of topics. So welcome, Amar, to the very special episode of the Leaders Speak.
Vandana, it's an absolute pleasure. And to everyone listening in, thank you for listening in.
Thank you so much. So I will straight get into the discussion. If I have to like ask you how exactly it came into your mind, or how did you start your venture? Because I'm sure when you start your venture, there are so many thoughts that run around you, and it's not a cakewalk. So how did you come up with it?
Wow, that's a very long question, but I'll give you some very easy sound bites, folks. How did I start? I come from a business family. Um, so I have that kind of business inkling. I'm deeply technical. I wanted to go out on my own, but it was not easy because in many cases you need a good partner. So I was very fortunate about 4 or 5 years ago. I met my co-founder, Mr. Balrai. Him and I have the passion. I think if I may summarize everything, folks, since you are starting to listen in, passion for what you do is the most important because then you're not running a business, you're just following your passion. But yeah, so what led me to it was I come from a business family. I want to create something. Sometimes in employment, I wasn't actually necessarily allowed that opportunity, that freedom to create, the freedom to do uh, what I want in cyber, but also then help clients is what led me into this.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And um, when you start your day, how does it look like? What are the challenges that uh, come in your way? Because every business is different, and especially in cybersecurity, we talk about, again, it's totally different. It's a vast area. So, what are the challenges that you face when you start your day?
That's one of the key things I would say. How does my day start? I think my day doesn't finish is the best way to finish. um, I think especially with the cyber economy, the cyber world, um, and I know this may sound controversial, but it is a 24/7 business. Um, and you've got to be ready to kind of listen to what your clients are saying. So, yes, my day kind of, we look at what is pending. We are running an online business, we are running a service oriented business. We do trusted advisory in crisis management, tabletop exercises. So, the day is multi kind of faceted operations with my co-partner, my business partner. We're looking at operations, people, managing staff, reaching out to clients, creating services for clients, etc., etc. I can go on, Vandana, but want to keep it short.
Sure. And so an entrepreneur, as you mentioned, that it just goes on and on. It's a juggling between multiple roles and responsibilities. So how do you try to balance all of them at once? Because if it's a 24/7, that means you're on toes almost every minute, every second of it.
I think something key to point out here, and I know it's not easy when you're starting out, but for me, delegation or finding the right people who can do and go out and do what I want and kind of trusting them to do is very important. And that's, I think to me, that's the biggest challenge even today. It's not a people, it is a people challenge, it's a skill challenge, it's an attitude challenge. We are building up our own team. We are very fortunate. Majority of them are absolutely passionate. And then I give them that freedom. They know what we want to do. They know how we want to achieve it. And then they start to have the freedom. Because at some point in your business, you are not going to be able to do everything. So I think micromanagement to me is the wrong thing. I absolutely detest micromanagement. I think it, even for existing organizations, micromanagement is a massive disabler. But for startups, as long as you can find the right people and they know what you want, I think again one of the challenges is describing what you want, you know, and not trying to boil the ocean. When people set up, they want to boil the ocean. Yeah, you know what? Is a big people can do it, but the small organizations got to focus on what can they do today.
Agree to it. And if I go back to one of the things that you said, failure is something that will happen to everyone, but we have to endure it. We have to live with it. So there are people who actually have ideas, but they want to start off. So what are the things that they can consider when they're starting off their business? Because there's so much to consider.
There's so much to consider. I think this applies to the job cycle also, not just startup cycle. You've got to find your passion. You know, in many cultures, dare I say, and for those of you listening in, you will understand what I mean. Don't necessarily follow the money. And if you don't like to do it, but if you follow the money, then you may not be successful. And one of the things I learned when I was kind of trying my hand at many different things is, if I had all the money, what would I do? Is a question to ask yourself. I would still do what I'm doing today. I would do other things, absolutely, but I would still be running this kind of a thing. I would still be in cyber because it is my absolute passion.
Now, on the same lines, if you have to give 3 advices to the mentees or the people who are actually kickstarting their career, maybe in the industry or as a startup, what are the 3 things that they can keep it with them and put a step forward in their journey?
What are the 3 things? I would say passion for learning, passion for, you got to have the passion to get up. I mean, again, it's one of those things, right? What makes you get up every day? Like yourself, Vandana, you're getting up, you have that passion. Without asking you any questions, I can see it in your eyes. That's what happens when I interview people. I need passion. I'm not focused on certificates too much, you know, and that's one of the, I think, kind of bad ideas people have is, I'll study something. Yes, try your hands, but find your passion. Because if you're passionate, you'll grab the food. If you're hungry, as they say in Hindi and Punjabi, but I'll translate it in English, if you're hungry, you will grab the food, right? If you're not hungry and you're full, you're not going to eat anything. So you're starting off your career, you're starting off a business, you have absolutely got to have the passion for what you want. You've got to know your client. You've got to know the client. And you've got to get rid of, dare I say, the techno speak. If you need to be able to know what your client is looking for. You know, instead of painting him or her an elephant, they may want a goat. I don't know, right? I've just had a simple example, right? You're telling the client, hey, why don't you buy this beautiful white elephant? And they're saying, hold
Yeah,
on, I want a goat. But you're not listening. You're
yeah,
telling them,
absolutely.
my elephant is the best, biggest, fattest elephant. But they don't want that elephant. And I think that's where a lot of business disconnect comes in. You've got to be real. Not every business is going to succeed. It takes a lot of grit. There is a lot of grit involved. Cash flow can be a major problem for many businesses. You've got to have that passion for creation.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good to speak. Yeah. Catch you later.